Hello, everybody, and happy Friday! Friday of the end of our first week in Lent, and it's looking very Lenty here in Western New York, which is to say, extremely overcast. Temperatures have been a little bit better. We've had a lot of snow meltage, for which I'm very grateful, but gray, very, very gray. So it has been keeping my mind focused on our task here for Lent, and I'm very excited to be joining you for my second weekly episode for the Lenten season 2018. So last week we had kind of a intro to how we're going to be what we're going to be doing in these shows for the liturgical season of Lent, and we talked about Ash Wednesday. This week, I thought that our theme would be Lenten resolutions. It's still very early in Lent, first full week, so your motivation is still somewhat high, I suppose. Although, if you've had a little bit of a backslide on your Lenten resolutions, then you're probably feeling pretty poorly about it right now, as opposed to if it happens later. I have been there in both cases, so no worries. It's just an opportunity to evaluate, reflect, talk about our goals, and to realize that you can always start anew. I think I remember reading an article about that on Catholic Mom. What was last year or 2 years ago, something like that. If you gave something up for Lent and then you went and had that thing because you had a weak moment, it doesn't mean that you can't get back on the wagon. It doesn't have to be 100% success in order for it to be a successful Lent, because we have all been there, my friends. So I hope that things are going well either way with your resolutions, I guess is the best way of putting that. I have my coffee here, which I still have plenty of, thank goodness. So my resolutions for Lent 2018. So I approached this two ways. In the past, like the past 5 years or so, 4 or 5 years, I have not given anything up for Lent. Instead, I had chosen to focus on adding things in, trying to boost up my prayer life. Before that 4 or 5 years, I had dabbled in giving up meat for the duration of Lent. I enjoyed that for a couple of years. It just got really hard because my family didn't want to give up give up meat for all of Lent. And so it just made it just difficult to plan dinners. I had given up some years earlier in my adulthood Diet Coke, because that is a weakness of mine. That is my very favorite soda beverage. I love the taste of Diet Coke. I don't like Diet Pepsi. So it's hard to give up because I did enjoy drinking that every night with dinner. And so I had given up that. Nowadays, I try not to drink Diet Coke anymore unless it's a special occasion, just because I'm trying to, eat and drink healthier. And so I had thought to myself in recent years, well, instead of giving something up, because I've done that for a while, why don't I focus on adding things in? So I experimented with devotionals and liturgy of the hours, rosaries, novenas, trying to be more disciplined with my daily prayer. And these are all good exercises, don't get me wrong. But I definitely had mixed success. And so, I just talked about you don't have to, just because you fall off the wagon doesn't mean you can't get back on. And I would always definitely try. But I remember last year in particular, I got to Holy Week and I just did a complete reapproach. I just approached Holy Week completely differently from the rest of my Lent, because whatever I had decided to do, and I can't even remember now how bad is that, I was not incorporating it into my routine. And so I was reading the Magnificat for Holy Week. I love that special Holy Week issue. Mine just came in the mail. And I was keeping up with the daily readings and such. And I went to all of the Triduum liturgies like I've done for the past 2 years, which is just one of my favorite times of the entire year. And it was lovely. So I had a great finish to my Lent. So this year, I said to myself, because I talk to myself sometimes, Tiffany, I have had so much mixed success, and I really wanted to approach Lent with a fresh spirit this year and try to really stay disciplined. So I wanted to give something up again, because I haven't done that for a while, like I just described. So I decided, like I mentioned in a post recently, to give up alcohol. This has been a very good discipline for me. In the evenings, work has been stressful, all of these things. And I found that I was becoming very reliant upon that as my method of unwinding. And there's nothing wrong with that being your method of unwinding, but it was really something that I was starting to not be able to picture my evenings without it. That's not a good thing, I didn't feel. And I just knew that this was something that it would be difficult for me to give it up. And so I wanted to try. This has been such a lovely experiment so far because I have stuck to it. I am taking Sundays as my solemnity, so I am having a drink on Sundays, but I have stuck to it for the rest of the days, a little over a week now. And it has forced me to experiment with other ways of unwinding in the evening. So I've got some cold seltzer, flavored seltzer water, using my Scentsy products for the fragrance, talking more to my kids and my husband as a method of unwinding. It has been a very good thing. And I have noticed that it has caused me to focus a little bit more. Like I am giving something up, and it's not about that. It's about how I can then refocus that energy on different and better things. And that has really made a huge difference. Last Friday during Lent, I also chose to add in giving up having any kind of desserts or sweets because it's a Friday during Lent, have that in addition to not having alcohol. And I noticed the same thing. You know, it was hard because I enjoy those types of things. And so I'd see something that I wanted to have, and it's like, no, I'm choosing not to have that. And instead of feeling like I was depriving myself of something, I felt like I was adding something really good in. I was creating more space to listen, more space for God, more space for kindness, for me to think about ways to channel that energy into positive and loving ways. And it's been excellent. So far, so good. The other thing that I've been doing, I did also want to add something in. So I have my handy dandy Kindle here, and I have 2 devotionals that I have been keeping up with so far every day. With Henry, we would read a saint story throughout the year. That's what we do. We read a saint story together before he goes to bed. So we switched off for Lent, and we're reading Our Daily Bread. I'll just hold up well, you can't. There's like a huge glare. Our Daily Bread is the middle item there in my devotional folder on my Kindle. It's a daily reflection publication, comes in both print and as an ebook. I've had a similar publication in print. I had a subscription to, and I loved it, called Living Faith. So I decided to try this one. It's like $2.99 for 3 months on your Kindle. So I downloaded the January, February, March edition, and Henry and I are reading those reflections each night. They're, I think, understandable for a 12-year-old. They have real life anecdotes mixed in. They have a scripture verse, and also a quick insight on that scripture verse in addition to the reflection. And Henry's been liking them. What I've been reading for myself is the Magnificat Advent Companion. I had originally thought I was going to do those reversed, and then the Magnificat seemed just a little bit more difficult for Henry to understand. So I've started reading that in the mornings, and it's perfect because it has a suggested daily penance at the end of each day. So I read it in the morning over breakfast, so it's perfect. I can employ it that day. And I have been really enjoying it. And I've been sharing the daily penances with Sam, and so we've been able to share that together. And it'll give me a concrete thing to work on that day. So it's, you know, pray extra hard for a specific intention, or make an additional a type of sacrifice each day, or whatever it is. So I've been really, really loving that. And it just takes a minute while I'm eating my cereal or my eggs in the morning. So that has been, those are my Lenten resolutions. So far, so good. I did forget one of the devotionals. I've forgotten each of them one day, and so we just made it up the next day. That always makes me feel better to get back on the bandwagon, that if I catch up, that I don't know, mentally it makes it that I'm more likely to continue on. It's just all about you and what works for you. So I hope that your Lent is going well so far. If you'd like to share your resolutions in the comments, I'd love to hear them. Next week we'll be talking about a different Lenten theme, and I'm looking forward to seeing you then. Bye.